David is this time now the name of the partner. David was in the process of auditing ABC Telecom Pty Limited, a local provider that's rapidly expanding its fiber optic and 5G network across the country. And the company had secured a massive syndicated loan of 1 billion rand in this case, specifically to fund this ambitious capital expansion. And the interest on this debt was substantial, and management had capitalized every penny of it under IAS 23, which deals with borrowing costs. The audit file contained project plans, drawdown schedules, and management representations. The CFO of this client was adamant that this is a continuous multi-year rollout. They're laying cable in City A, building towers in City B, and upgrading infrastructure in City C. Simultaneously, it's one giant project. And that's why the borrowing costs don't stop until the entire national network is ready for its intended use. The engagement partners team, after reviewing the integrated project plan, decided they agreed with management. And the draft audit report and conclusions reflected that they were happy that full capitalization of all the borrowing costs were appropriate. But then when the EQR reviewed, the engagement quality reviewer reviewed the working papers, and especially relating to this borrowing costs, the reviewer, which was again chosen as a partner from a different office, but with deep expertise in infrastructure and construction accounting, this person reviewed, and that person specifically focused on the significant judgments made by the audit team. And the engagement quality reviewer zeroed in on the borrowing costs because it was an area of significant judgment, and that the audit team also focused on. And this reviewer read the management representation and reviewed the project timelines, but something troubled the reviewer. And then the reviewer looked at paragraph 24 of IAS 23, and that paragraph says when an entity completes the construction of a qualifying asset in parts, and each part is capable of being used while construction continues on other parts, the entity shall cease capitalizing borrowing costs when it completes substantially all the activities necessary to prepare that part for its intended use or sale. So that paragraph caused the reviewer to look at the project plan again. And the reviewer saw that the new tower in City B had been physically completed and commissioned for 3 months, actively serving customers and generating revenue. And the fiber run to City A was live, but ABC Telecom, the client, was still capitalizing the interest on the debt used to build those specific completed assets, arguing because work continued elsewhere, the whole network was still under construction. So the engagement quality reviewer disputed that and raised the concerns with the partner, and discussed it with the partner and explained this principle that the reviewer doesn't agree that the borrowing costs attributable to the completed parts must still be capitalized. He said, no, you can't do that. You can't keep rolling interest into an asset that's already earning money for the client. And first, the engagement partner disagreed and said, I'm sorry, I agree with management's argument. You can't just slice it up. It just doesn't make sense. They kept on disagreeing. They respectfully disagreed. And then the reviewer again highlighted the broader principle coming from the standard, clearly talking about the parts that are completed versus the parts that are still being constructed and the capitalization of the borrowing costs. So this whole interpretation difference between the partner supporting management's position and the independent engagement quality reviewer saying no, but that's not what the accounting standard says in terms of that. Finally, the partner did refer to the firm's policies and procedures, and it said who needed to be notified of these differences. The partner actually did that. Meeting was scheduled. It was explained, and this person said, okay, but based on the firm's policies and procedures, an external consultation is necessary. And they did actually obtain an external consultation then from somebody on the interpretation of this paragraph in the accounting standard and how it applies to this entity. And the external consultation actually supported the view of the engagement quality reviewer. And that is the point that the engagement partner realized, okay, the reviewer wasn't being difficult, was just actually applying the letter of the standard to the specific facts of the entity independently. And he realized that the team had been swayed a bit too much by management's big picture narrative and did not, they failed to realize that it's separate components of the rollout, as required by IAS 23. Okay, so they actually did go back to management with all of these facts and circumstances, and the negotiation was tough with the client, but they pushed back hard, and eventually, finally, the client did reach a compromise that was acceptable under the standard. Okay, so after this whole process, the engagement partner felt a deeper sense of confidence than he had before the dispute, because this objective challenge by the engagement quality reviewer didn't just fix a technical error, it had protected the firm from a significant risk. And then afterwards, they also thought about root causes, and they had a root cause analysis meeting later, where the team discussed it, and they realized that it wasn't a failure of competence, but a failure of perspective that caused them to miss this. They had been a bit too close to the client's narrative, and then this independent review, engagement quality review, actually picked up a very significant thing and helped them to, with more comfort, sign off ultimately on the audit report after the necessary adjustments were